Hello again and welcome back. Thank you so much for following the story, you know, my greatest testimonies 2023. I wanted to really record this. God, through God's grace and mercy, has used his servant in many ways, in many stories, in many prophetic revelations and many things. But 2023, there was something about it that I really wanted to share. It is not because I've never had a testimony. I mean, I've had many testimonies. I've had angels visiting me. I've had God sends ravens to visit me. I've had many encounters with God. But the reason why I want to share this testimony of 2023 because I can honestly say it is the first time that every month after month, from January to December, the whole year, we have been put through the fire. God has put us through fire and has allowed this burden to be laid upon us to test what is truly in our hearts. I mean, many a times one incident or two happen during the year and we get through it. But this was event after event. I'm talking about major events, major storms that came through. So I realized I need to speak about it. I need to share because God does not put us through for the fun of it. Our lives, uh, you know, what we go through is to be a testimony for somebody. Our stories are testimonies for somebody. So, as a woman of God and a pastor, as servants of God, we know that whatever we've been through is shaping our ministry. A son of mine said that, Mommy, when it's time for promotion, the test is different. When it's time for elevation, the test is different. I honestly believe that because we can know the lessons and the test of class one will not be the same as that of the university. And so we know that as we graduate and we go up and up, the tests are different. So 2023, a year of great testimony that the Lord said. So if you remember from the first part, God said 2023, great testimony. But what I forgot was that with testimonies comes the test. And these were big tests. So come to July. So I decide that since God has made a way, I need to run down to Ghana and visit Mommy because by God's grace, she's out of the hospital. But I needed to go see, I needed to be there for her. So the plan was to go right away. And therefore, plans were underway and everything. So on the 13th of August, we go for Thanksgiving over here for Daddy, church service. I'm excited, hey, the storm is over, things are great and things are good. But I remember coming home and the Holy Spirit said to me, don't start celebrating yet. Don't start rejoicing yet. And he took me to Jeremiah 7 and Jeremiah 42. And when I read it, it spelled out doom. It was not readings that were like, yay, victory has come. God is on the move. They were messages of do not, listen when everyone said all is well, peace be unto you and all that. Said, don't listen to them. Don't listen to any false prophets that will come and declare all happiness and peace and all that. And I was restless in my spirit, like, God, what are you trying to tell me? What else is coming? I thought the greatest storm, the greatest test, and the hardest part is what I have endured from January up to July. And I'm looking for the rest of the year to go splendidly well, like great works and great things. So why these quotations? And I remember sharing it with one of my spiritual daughters, and I said, Pastor Linda, this is, God is giving me these messages, and every time I go to him, I go in his presence, he will refer me to these Bible passages. So, I went into prayer. I said, God, please don't take my mom. Don't take my children. Don't take anybody. So just at the end of August, let me share this testimony. You remember Leslie was going through his neurological treatments for the MS, and we have been trusting God and praying. Gladly, he could see, he could walk, he was doing well, but we wanted complete recovery. And I had told God I want that out of his body. Like, hey, no, no, I'm not accepting that. So great news comes in at the end of August, getting to September. We got great news from his head scans and stuff that show that the lesions were gone, and God did a miracle with that, and we cannot overlook that because um, all the things that they found in his brain were no more there. And I knew that all credit goes to God. I thank the doctors, but all credit goes to our God who had healed my son, and he was doing much better. So that is another great news that came there. So in August, this happens. The Thanksgiving happens. We are rejoicing and doing well. And then a daughter of mine had passed in July, so that was a big blow as well. She passed on 3rd of July, and I was just numb. At this point, I was numb by all these stops that were coming my way. And so her funeral was on the 20th of August. I wanted to be there, so I had to stay for that. It was hard. It was really hard because she was young, and losing her was a big blow to the family and to the church. So we went through that. The following week, that we're still in August, Leslie has happened, Thanksgiving has happened, burial and funeral of this beautiful young lady has happened. And then I remember very well because we were coming from church, and I was speaking to Mom, and just celebrating her because I wanted to go surprise her. And then I remember that I had a dream, and in the dream I saw that Mommy had passed in the dream. That same night, my husband, Pastor Henry, Pastor H, also gets the same dream, So we both woke up and like, I had a dream, said I had a dream. We get home, and one of my spiritual daughters calls and says, Mommy, I had a dream. And I said, what is the dream about? I said, it's about Grandma. Fourth person calls me. So at this point, it's like, there are dreams of Mommy's passing, and I'm beginning to like, okay, God, what are you saying? Maybe these visions are for later. It can be for now. So you go into prayer mode. I'm like, I cannot take another storm. I'm going to Ghana, and I'm going to go see Mommy. She's getting better. She's going to be strong. This woman, looked beautiful and strong, and she was blogging all the time. We called her blogger because Mommy will watch your status and blog about it. She was keeping track and tabs on everybody, and she would tell you, if you listen to my words and my talking, nothing shows that something is going on, and nothing did. She was high spirited, she was hopeful, and she was in a lot of pain, but for the sake of her children, Mommy was soldiering on. So I was like, these dreams, Lord, you reveal to redeem, and therefore cancel these dreams and send death way back. The next day I get a call, and my brother Richard is like, says you need to get on the next flight because I have to take Mommy to the hospital. I'm like, what's going on? He said, you better get here. I'm like, I'm on my way to Ghana. I'm coming. So on the plane, I pray and I cry and I pray and I cry. I believe for 12 hours, that's all I was doing, praying and crying to God. I'm like, God, please do not take my mom. No, this is September. I cannot do this. So I get to Ghana on the 5th of September from Kotoka International Airport straight into the hospital where Mommy was. And at this point, Mommy is, I find her, I don't know, this new frail woman, or this woman that was strong-willed and vibrant and energetic and was very quiet, and she looked different. The very first sight of her broke my heart, but I wiped my tears and stayed positive. Went into the hospital room and I said, I am not leaving this hospital. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to feed her. I'm going to lay by her. So that's what I did. And this was on the 5th. And I pray I could share every testimony with you. I stayed with Mommy. The next day, Mommy says, you know what, Jennifer, I'm going to heaven today. And I do a double take. I'm like, huh? You're going where? Said, I'm going to heaven today. I'm like, Mommy, you're not going to heaven. And she said, Jennifer, I'm already gone. I already left. And I said, what do you mean you already left? You cannot be talking to me if you're already dead. And she's like, I'm already dead. I'm already in heaven. And in that moment, I was like, huh, what is she talking about? So she said, don't leave me, because I'm going to heaven today. I took it as old ladies talk. I said, okay, Mommy, I'm not going anywhere. Only to turn around and go somewhere. I went home just to freshen up and come back and just to meet neighbors and that. I came back and Mommy had literally passed away. When I came back, Mommy was unresponsive. When I came back, now Mommy is on oxygen, and I'm like, what's going on? I just left only an hour ago, so what is it? And they said Mommy took a turn. The moment I walked out, Mommy decided to leave. I'm like, no, she can't. No, she can't leave. God, you cannot let my mom die today. I just got here. I just came. Mommy cannot die today. Ha! One of the greatest tests of my life. I lay prostrate on the floor in that hospital. I cried my head off. I screamed at God. I said, God, you need to wake her up. I am not ready. My mom cannot die today. I cannot do this. So you need to wake Mommy up, please. Brothers and sisters, this is on the 6th of September. I cried. If my mother should die, I just buried my dad 6 weeks ago. Mommy cannot die. And I just got here. She can't die. So I stayed up, pray, cry, kiss her, hug her, lay by her, everything I'm doing. Still trusting God to wake her up. And God hears my prayers. On the 8th of September, Mommy comes out of that coma that should have taken her away. She comes out, and the first name she calls out is my name. And that is one of the greatest miracles for me. This was a storm. This was something. My emotions were different. Like, I don't know how to cry. I don't know how to smile. I don't know. Like, I was going through a lot of emotions that were unbelievable. So Mommy comes out. I'm rejoicing and thanking God and praising God. And all these things are on video. So I have evidence of everything I'm saying to you. And Mommy comes out of the coma. Prayer works. Mommy comes out, and she comes out with a smile. And she tells me, why do you call me back? And I said, Mommy, I called you back because I'm not done. You can't leave me now. There's so much for us to talk about and so much to do. I want us to go to Popeye. I want us to go to KFC. I want us to take walks. So you can't leave now. And as the day turns into night into day, I realized Mommy was slipping away. But God gave me this grace. God gave me this grace to be there, watching her slip away. I played her Presbyterian songs. I played worship. I gave her the love My brother gave a lot. We all loved on her in those days. And it really was an atmosphere of love. But my heart was breaking because I can't lose mommy. Not now. No. Even though God had revealed it, I was trusting God that it would be a different story. God had brought her back to me for a second time. And in that time, that is where I talk about you've got to be still and see the grace in a storm, because I realized that God has given me a second chance to say a proper farewell to mommy, and I had to stay strong not to miss it. So I wiped my tears and had a real long conversation with mom. I'd never been in a place where someone was passing and was speaking their last wishes and all that. I'd never seen that, heard of it, but never seen it. And mommy, because as I said, I wish I could share everything with you, because literally this was like history repeating itself. The same scenario happened with my grandma, where my mom came from abroad, and my grandma was passing away, and she said the words, "Are you going to die today on me?" And I remember very well that grandma didn't die on that day. She died a week later. And I'd voiced out to my siblings that I was worried that history repeats itself. And literally before my eyes, history was repeating itself. I had got into Ghana and mommy was passing away. I steel myself and wipe my tears and decide to give her the very best love I could in these last days. She was not supposed to die this year. She's not supposed to die any year or any time soon, no. And it was hard for me to process. But the strength that I got, I don't know, it can only be God who gave it to me, that I stayed by her side, vowing not to leave. I lived in that hospital. I slept there, slept by her side, holding her hands, kissing her and loving her. And I could see her joy. Mommy got to say thank you. I got to say thank you. All words that must be spoken, mommy spoke to me. And the love and the grace, and I think God placed me there. Oh, there's so much I wish I could share in this testimony, because as I said, I can see God's grace in it. God had told me to give mommy the Lord's Supper when I was coming from the United States, and I had forgotten to do it before, she went into the coma. So when she came out, immediately the Holy Spirit said, give it to her now. And I tell you, I was able to administer my mom's Lord's Supper and her last meal on earth to her. And I look at the grace of God in that. How many people can honestly say that as women of God or as ministers, that you gave the Lord's Supper to your parents, your mom, the very last one on earth, the last meal she took was administered by your hands. And I saw the grace in that. And I'm thankful to God. I saw the grace in everything, because if I don't choose to see the grace, it will be gloom and I'll think God has abandoned me. But God was right there. Because when she came back from that coma, I knew it's only God who woke up to give me grace to talk to her and say and ask anything I wanted, receive my blessings, and have a proper farewell or goodbye. And I am humbled and glad to say that mommy, I remember that fateful morning. It was a Tuesday, and when I woke up, the Holy Spirit said to me, prepare to call transitions. And I'm like, what? Call transitions? Why am I calling transitions? My brother got the same message, and he's like, he picked up the phone. He's like, why am I even calling transitions? What is this? And he said, get thee behind me. But my heart was breaking, but I knew what was happening. So in the night, I was telling everybody, don't leave. She's going to go today. Don't leave. But my brother couldn't take it. My son couldn't take it. I just stayed. I slept by her. And I felt that she was going to transition. So I stayed with her, and I remember I was recording every moment of it. And the Holy Spirit said to me, put it the video down and play the song. It's a Presbyterian song. And I started playing the song. And brothers and sisters, my mom walked into heaven on that day on the wings of that song and angels. And I believe with all my spirit that God gave me the grace to be, as a woman of God, to see a glimpse of heaven in and out, how the soul transitions. And I learned a lesson about how, she was literally laying here and I was laying next to her. But when the angel of death came, he came to take her and not me. And it tells me that there's an appointed time for every one of us. There was 2 of us, but he came for the one whose time was up. And I was right there. And that goes to say that when your time is not up, your time is not up. Because the angel of death will come. And I remember mommy telling me that she was seeing the angels waiting for her. And she would giggle and she would smile with them. And I knew she was not smiling at me. And it was beautiful. It was painful, but it was beautiful. And I had to look at the grace of God allow me to have that experience. And I thank God that I was there in her last days. And, I was there for her. So mommy transitioned on the 13th of September, exactly a week after I got into Ghana. And the shock of it started to hit in. So that was my September. Every day it was like, I'm dreaming. No. 2020, I can lose daddy and I can lose mommy. My 2 pillars. But it did happen. And daddy didn't transition by my side, but mommy did. And it was something else. So September storm shook my foundation. And I was just telling someone that from January I had been in mourning clothes, and when I went to church on the 13th of August to thank God, I was like, now I can wear every lace, every kente, all the things I've sewn for the year, I'm going to wear it. And I went to Ghana with suitcases full of, I'm going to, put all these beautiful clothes. And now I had to come out of the hospital and get back in black. Get back in my morning clothes. But September 13th, my foundation was shaking. But in all that, I saw the grace of God. Because it was God who gave me the grace to be there by his side, wake up again for me to say that goodbye. And a lot of people were just happy for me. A lot of people were just thanking God for me that I got the grace to do that. So I got to thank God for it and share that testimony. That God knew. He is a good God. He knew that my mom would need me. He knew that I had to be by his side. And that is why he saved the time for that time. That is for September. Stay tuned for October. And don't forget to share your comments, your like, and share it with friends and loved ones. This is Lady Prophetess Jennifer Senate. Thank you, and God bless you.